mark guys off the street and get better efforts. Time to move on. So I mean that I don't know if you would think that that's true, but I do know that it is frustrating. I mean that's kind of and you can expect that those type of comments, those type of frustration from a fan base that is sticking by this team. I mean anybody that's listening to this post game show and wanting to talk about it. I mean you guys are true fans. I think for a lot of people it would have been pretty easy. I mean this game was over pretty quickly. I mean, it got out of hand in the first half, obviously. And I was thinking, if I didn't do a post game, if I wasn't so, in tune to this Nebraska basketball, covering the team and all that, I wonder if I would have just stepped away and said, I just can't, it's a weekend. I'm gonna go. It's a nice day outside, whatever, just not have that bother me today, unfortunately. And that's sad. I mean, I'm right up there. At least I consider myself as right up there as a pretty darn loyal Husker fan, and it's just kind of getting to that point. And so it just kind of is what it is, I suppose. For what it's worth, Nebraska. This is I think what somewhat happened here in the effort, in the lack of rebounding and that stuff. I mean, that's been there all year. But I think it was pretty clear. And you can see this kind of in the modern age of 3-point shooting is Nebraska is not a team that is going to be able to catch up easily if they let a barrage of threes go in. And so they dug themselves a pretty big hole, maybe tried to match some threes, had a little help from CJ Wilcher early there in the first half to try to stay competitive. But then they had their scoring droughts. Northwestern was just hitting everything. And so, yeah, again, this is just not a team that's going to be able to dig itself out of a big hole. You see this happen in NBA games. If one team's hitting a bunch of threes, one team's not, you start to get a bunch of separation. And that's what happened today. But unfortunately, it's easier to stomach, I suppose, when it's a Michigan or an Auburn that's blowing you out. Northwestern's not supposed to do this. They beat Rutgers, like you mentioned, their previous game, but losers of 8 out of 9 before that in Big Ten play. So, I mean, this was what we call a gettable game, right? I mean, this is supposed to be the start of the stretch of the season where you're playing bottom half of the Big Ten teams after going through a difficult winless 0-11 to start against the top half of the Big Ten teams. And I think it's just unfortunate you start that run with probably your worst performance of the year, considering the opponent.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think, the crazy thing is they've lost 8 of 9, but Nebraska's lost 18 straight games against high Division I competition. Not only that, but it's been by an average of 14 points a game. That's just that's unattainable. You can't do that. Now, in any circumstance, I mean, we've talked about it in the past that when you get down, the way you have to get back into games is by segment. So you're down, coming into the second half that you're down 20, a little over 20 points. So you've got your first 3 to 5 minutes has got to be balls to the wall. And you've got to be playing with such fire and passion because you need to get 10 points back with a net. That at least 6 to – you need to win every segment by at least 6 to 10 points. And they didn't do that. I mean, they just basically went down to 20. It got worse coming out of the half, and that showed me a lot, right? So another thing that's another sign for me is, okay, they're hot. They shot the ball pretty well, 46% from the 2 and 43% from the 3. But what irks you, and this shows is a lack of effort, is in the second half, they shoot 51% from the 2 and didn't shoot as good from the 3, which is they shot about what they shoot from 3 in the second half. So even if they had a first half surge, they shouldn't by any means increase by 6 points in field goal shoot. They've got to get in the 30s. If you're going to get into the game, it's got to be in the 30s. Another thing is they had 66 total possessions from 2 and just 66 field goal attempts. So that's over 15 more field goal attempts. The only thing that saved them by being blown out by 40 plus was the fact that they were missing those second chance opportunities, right? That's the only thing that saved them from getting blown out. So their second chance points. They win the rebound battle by almost 10, but their second chance points was only 4. Even though they turned the ball over, their fast break points was only 8. So this game could have been way worse. They did have 22 points off of turnovers, which is a significant number. But the fact that they rebound in offensive rebound the way that they did, that, you would have thought, they could have been worse than that.
Yeah, let's go run through some of these more of these numbers. Usually we do this in the post-game show, and you can kind of figure out the little bit of differences there. But again, with the margin this big, a game that was this big of a blowout, it's hard. So we'll just run through them quickly here. Nebraska's leading scorer today, C.J. Wilcher, 15 points off the bench, and again hit 3 straight threes in that first half to kind of keep them at least within range. And I think that as far as that goes, I mean, Wilcher was the one positive from today, I think, and I just want to continue to encourage him because he has been picking his game up lately and kind of adjusting to Big Ten play. So at least he's hopefully a building block moving forward for Nebraska basketball. Only one other Husker in double digits today. That was Bryce McGowens. He did most of his work, or half his work, I should say, from the free throw line. 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 10 points overall. It took him a while to get going. Of course, he had 4 straight 20-point games. And at some point it's you'd expect it to cool off, and you hope your teammates can kind of pick you up around you. We'll get through some more of the numbers here in a second, but do you think that they needed to, overall 8 shot attempts from McGowens? He looked a little bit off, didn't quite have it going today, but do you think they need to try to run the offense through him a little bit more at this point? It didn't look like he was, it's kind of the open offense, so it just kind of comes to whatever's kind of open there. And I thought that the way that he'd been playing, maybe that would be a strategy. They again didn't play through Derek Walker in the post. Those are things that we've seen in the past work a little bit for this team. And when they started to get down big, it was again trying to play catch up from the 3-point line instead of find something that had worked in the past or something that makes sense. I mean, Derek Walker shoots 70% from the floor. McGowens has been scoring 20 plus points. Maybe lean on those type of strengths that you've had over the last several games instead of what happened, obviously, which again is just kind of that open offense, guys penetrating, not a whole lot of movement, not a whole lot of open shots, just a lot of hero ball at times, and maybe not hero ball, but one-on-one, and the offense gets pretty stagnant.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the difference tonight was the defense was going to be a little bit better on McGowens. You have, Audij, who's a pretty good defender, strong, good body. So I can maybe understand why they didn't do some of the things that they did against Michigan in getting the ball to Bryce on those mid-post opportunities to let him work with a little bit more close range to the basket. So maybe that was why. I don't understand why you don't go to it and try it. You had great success with that. It just seemed like he got off to a very slow start, a couple drives, got it thrown away, got it tossed away. They let him play. They wasn't giving him bailout fouls, him and Verge and Trey. They weren't getting none of that. So at the end of the day, I think there was some positives. I saw Verge in a couple of drives, made the right play where he didn't go too deep and he kicks it out, and we got a couple of good open looks, and CJ banged a couple of them. The other issue is their fundamentals are just, they're jumping and with nowhere to go. I mean, they get off their feet and they're trying to do some kind of pass, and it ends up being a turnover, and you go down the other end. It's either a 3 or 2. Then you're driving the baseline, normal stuff. If you drive the baseline, you have multiple options. It's either stop, jump, stop, reverse pivot. The other guy's got to be open. Here's why. Defensive help is going to come from the bottom, which it did. Came over a couple of instances to Bryce and Verge. It was the same. It looked the exact. I mean, I can see that happen at any given time because it's the exact. That's their rotation plan. Bottom guy comes over, cuts off the baseline. Other guy cuts him off. that the guy that's covering on the wing has got to drop to the middle of the paint. Weak side guy covering on the wings got to go to the corner, and big man's got to stay with the big man. Right? That's just basketball IQ rotation stuff. So the open guy is going to be a stop, pivot out, swing it. If the big man's covered, leave him alone. Then the next play is going to be shot, fake it out, and throw it cross. Fundamental stuff, which is going to be the open guy there. So now he catches it. Guy out of the corner has got to rotate to him, or it's going to be an open shot. Then you hit the corner and you got an open shot because that guy just came over to rotate all the way across the paint. There's no way he can get there. That's just IQ stuff that I see, and it blows my mind because they're driving baseline, turning the ball over. Every one of them, I saw 4 times tonight on a baseline drive, it was a turnover. And it was because they got too deep instead of keeping dribble. Even if they kept their dribble, pin it and reverse out and dribble out, if they weren't going to, it's just fundamental stuff. It's stuff that just blows me because that's, I mean, and again, it goes back to the little things. That's the stuff. Rebounding, fundamentals. They can't pass. Passing is simple. You throw one little bounce pass to Andre, boom, fumble Ruski. You throw other passes that any defensive-minded person with good hands are going to be up in this range. It's got to be a bounce pass, or it's got to be a fake with a little drop. It's got to be something that gets that guy he's waiting on that natural just drive and throw it through the arm. You know, that's just natural stuff for defenses, and they always get their hands on it. So, I mean, I hate to be a continuous person on these things, but that's fundamental stuff, and they won't win, bro. They won't win, Bach, if they continue to be not fundamentally sound in those little areas like that. It's just impossible because there's just going to be too many mistakes that are going to be accumulated, not just made. You know, there are mistakes that do happen, but it's going to be an accumulation of them. I mean, entry passes. I mean, they could barely get the ball into Derek Walker. It was like, that's like, if I'm want to get it to him, get it to him some way, somehow. I'm either going to drive you, make you think I'm going to the basket, stop, boom, I'm dropping it. I'm going to go fake like I'm going to the middle, reverse back, drop it. I'm doing something, but they're so, what is it called? Maybe it's laziness. Maybe it's like, I'm just going to be no, that's practice stuff. That's why even in practice, that's the stuff I worked on. I worked as if there was somebody defending me. I didn't just be like, oh yeah, Derek's open, or oh yeah, Derek. You know, I worked as if somebody's pressuring me, and I got to figure out how to get that ball to Bruce Chubbuck or to Derek Chandler or whatever. I got to figure out how to get him that ball. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they're doing that. I wish I was there. DP could probably give us more information on how do they work? Do they get a lather? What are they doing in their layup lines? Are they just kind of playing around, finger rolling the ball? Are they working on things that are going to be kinds of shots? That's what I did. I worked on the shots that I was going to be taking in the game. Okay, we run this play. Okay, we got a floppy action. Okay, I'm gonna come off here. Let me go and work on some of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they've just got so. I mean, I think that's part of the frustration overall is that, you know, like you said, it's a lot of the little things. All the little things kind of add up. And then on the opposite end of that is you don't have a strength to rely on. So you know, if there's just, you know, you lose the rebounding battle game in and game out. You're not a heavy assist team. You're one guy that does get a lot of assists. Also, like stops a lot of movement in the offense, and you know, so it's just. There's just not a whole lot there to fall back on if you make those mistakes, if you're doing the little things, if you're not right. So I mean, I think that's again, maybe we will when we return kind of have a more of a bigger picture discussion, because I know a lot of people, this feels like rock bottom. I don't know how much worse it can get than a blowout loss to Northwestern. Northwestern's a residual every year bottom 4 team in the Big Ten. And that's, Chris Collins is a great coach there, and that's a hard place to win. And he got him the NCAA tournament once. It's nothing against them. They're always, they're all pretty well coached always. They just don't always have the talent there. And you just got so destroyed by them that I'm surprised that people stuck around after halftime.
I was too.
Yeah, I would not. I would have, if I'm just a fan in there. Unless you have a kid around that hasn't been to a game, what are you sticking around for? More misery.
Bach, I'm gonna be honest. Had I not been working on this project down here, I got invited. It very possibly I would have been mad if I got on a plane, spent money to come in there to see that.
Oh yeah,
I would have been heated. I mean, above heated. Yeah, it wouldn't have been good because I would have been sipping brandy. I don't even drink brandy. I would have been sipping brandy, and I wouldn't even been watching the game. I would have been just sipping brandy, and I might have told DP, I'm not coming to the studio today.
not after spending all that money to get to town.
Man, yeah, it wasn't very good, bro. And I empathize for the fans because the fans want it. They really do. I mean, and they're trying to stay in there. They're trying to give patience. And somebody in the caller before here, and forgive me, I couldn't remember his name, but the caller before, Larry, yep. Larry said, I don't know if it's coaching, but I can't see that it's all, the onus of the players. The players got to take ownership on the fundamental things, right? The things that they can control. But the staff has got to hold them accountable to those things. And if you don't, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose with who wants to freaking be out there playing. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't want to give maximum effort and you can't do these specific things, if I'm going to lose and I'm going to go out, I'm going out swinging with the people that freaking want to be out there at the end of the day. If that's the way it's going to be, bro, I mean, I don't know. And I could be wrong on that thinking too.
It was cool. That one play, like you said, there was a play where Lonzo, it kind of got a big, fast break by all effort at halftime or at half court. And that was nice to see. It was maybe a little bit too late there, but and you'll see that from him once in a while, but I feel like we could count on one hand that, how many times we've seen a guy dive on the floor. And really just really show ultimate effort. The closing out obviously wasn't great today. Northwestern had a lot of open looks, transition defense, a lot of open threes there early. I mean, just
turning the corner.
Yeah.
It was like a layup line, turn the corner. I was like, wow. So
yeah, so a lot more for us to get to. Again, we'll talk a little bit long-term, big picture stuff here in just a second. DP will join us in a little bit, as well as I want to ask Strick, is this one of those burn the tapes type of deals, or do you go in hard on them? We'll get to that next here on the Hoops Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric ensures our home and office HVAC systems run smoothly throughout the year to provide maximum comfort and convenience. Routine maintenance reduced our operating costs just by improving the efficiency of our unit. Consider a maintenance agreement to ensure you too receive priority for services and scheduling. This helps meet manufacturer warranty requirements. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has 2 Lincoln locations that are great for any occasion. If you're downtown for a basketball game or a concert, stop by their newest spot at 10th and P. Don't forget to check out their social media pages to learn about any concerts on stage at Rosie's. If you want to avoid a busy downtown scene, head over to the original Rosie's just south of 14th and Highway 2 for a feeling of your local hometown bar. There's plenty of TVs at both places and great food and drink. What are you waiting for? Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill at 10th and P and on South 14th Street.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Back to the Tickets Basketball Postgame Show, featuring Derek Pearson and former Husker and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on the Hoops Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Jake Balkovin, joined by Eric Strickland. DP will join us in just a bit. The Huskers fall today 87-63 to the Northwestern Wildcats. Wildcats improved to 4-8 in conference play, get over the 500 point mark for the season, 11-10 now overall for the winners today. The losers on the Nebraska end, it continues to be more pain instead of bounce there for Nebraska. 6-17 on the year, 0-12 in conference play. For what it's worth, I believe now, I'd have to double check. I think that Fred Hoiberg's winning percentage in conference play has officially fallen below 10% for his career at Nebraska. So it's a frustrating one, but we're just more therapy than anything today as we try to get through this. A few interesting topics to still get through here as we look back at this game and look back at the stretch that Nebraska has had before we look to the future a little bit. But Nebraska are off the Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. You're encouraged to give us your thoughts. Joe says on the text line, true fans stay to the end of the game and feel the pain. Do you think that that's what it takes of a true fan? Would you have to sit through this one, Strick? We talked about how maybe we wouldn't have quite done that. But some fans still think you got to stick to the end. I just don't know how much you should be have to take here. And then there's the other part of it that we saw Nebraska football fans take in the Purdue game. I think is if you want to kind of make a statement yourself as a fan, the best way to do it is to either not buy tickets to begin with, but I'd still encourage you to go and cheer the team on. But I would also encourage if you've had enough to let it be known that you've had enough. And sometimes in mass waves, Nebraska fans have done that, and it's made a difference, and it kind of shows what Nebraska's or kind of the feeling from the fan base. But I'll say I don't think yet you're quite at that level yet, but it might be getting close because this is pretty close to rock bottom. Do you think true fans have to stay till the end?
No, I still think you could be a true fan. I think you can be disappointed at the effort. I mean, let me just say it like this. So when I was in Dallas, there was 2 different parts of disappointment with the Mavs fans, right? Knowing that you have the talent that you had when we had Jimmy Jackson, Jason Kidd, Jamal Mashburn, it was a nice solid crew to build a strong foundation on, right? And when I got there, some things I noticed, we would get our butts kicked. And I'm listening to some of these top tier guys talking about what we're going to do and where we're going, as opposed to why we didn't handle our business and getting this win. So there could be disappointment for that type of mentality, and it's understandably so. Then you have another part where the fans were there in support, even though we were losing, but they saw the effort. They saw we were getting after it, the passion. They saw we were collectively fighting. Yeah, we would come up short, and it happened in that first half of the season. But then it paid off in the second half because we had the best record tied with the Kobe Shaq Lakers in the second half of the Western Conference season. And then you knew, this is what we're talking about with the Huskers. Then you knew that next year was going to be special. And even though I got traded, I still knew that next season we weren't going to be under 500 because I could just see it. They end up winning 50 games, right? I don't see that for this team yet. But because the effort, the diving, the scrapping, we were outmatched in some instances, but we still came, and you can see it. I just haven't seen that yet. And so I don't know where it would come from, but go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have some other fans on the text line. Kevin says, true fans should be boycotting these games. You're just supporting more of the same by going to them. Only way you can be heard is by keeping seats empty. So there's always there's always different thoughts from the fan base and different strategies, I suppose. I mean, in one way, I like to see the fans get power and walk out and stuff like that. On the other hand, I love you guys for going to these Husker basketball games. I love you guys for being Husker basketball fans, because it's not easy not to, especially over the last 20 years or so. You don't get the carrot that you're chasing throughout most of that time, but still support these guys and try to get over the edge. But like you said, it's kind of just a different story tonight as far as, man, at least they really hustled, they really gave effort, and they really gave it their all out there. And again, it's not necessarily that they, you could like point out that, hey, they aren't hustling and all that stuff. It was just, the game got out of hand early, and they weren't not able to scrap their way back into the game. Again, against the Northwestern team that's not all that great. Would you say that this is a game that, some of these, when you have the blowout games and maybe you're overmatched, you just throw out the tape and say that was it happens in basketball where, a team gets hot and you just don't have it that day. Throw out the tape. We don't need to learn from that game. Or do you think this is one where you just really turn on the tape, make them watch it, and say, this can't happen again?
No, I think we're past that. I think I would have given them two throwaway tape games. One would have been the Michigan game, and the other the Auburn game. Those could have been my two. This one, no, sir. At home against a not very good, I would say this may have been worse than the game that they lost. Who was it? Let me think. I think it was the game that they lost to, I want to say Kennesaw. Was it
to Western Illinois to begin the game?
Western Illinois.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would attribute it to something like that. I mean, because even though no, you know what? I ain't gonna even say it was that bad. Here's why. Because these were two teams that were both in the same type of boat, which is they play hard, they have opportunities to win. They were just coming up short. One team broke through, the other team has yet to want to break through. Because this was your opportunity to really get back home on your home court against the not so, still kind of trying to feel their way type of team and get that job done. and you laid a golden goose egg.
Yeah, and it's a question off the text line, and I know we'd get here eventually because I saw a lot of it on Twitter. Off the Sutter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. Brad from Baldwin wants to know, does Strick thinks a change in coaching is needed to turn this around? And like I said, it's inevitable that that people are starting to think about that. Keep in mind, an $18.5 million buyout would also be going along with that.
I'm not going to say yet. I'm going to say he just really got this team. So I'm going to give him a little leeway. If you continue to see the lack of fundamentals and now that's coaching stuff. Now, if that's going to continue and carry over, then that's going to be a problem. I'm not ready to throw it in yet. I would say he may need to pull a Herm Edwards.
You're an
you had to figure it out. You had to pull a Herm Edwards or something, because it can't stay the way it is, bro. It can't. It ain't like you ain't got talent in that room. We've seen you play against NC State. We've seen you play against some of these other teams, Illinois, and we've seen you fight against some of these. We know it ain't a lack of talent. It's got to be something else. It's got to be something else. What is it? I don't know.
Yeah, and it's weird. I mean, especially, if you think McGowan's is going on to the NBA, then you can come to your forward projections. But you kind of go back and you see a team that just Nebraska historically has not been able since, your time to kind of in the 90s, late 90s even, to get guys to that NBA level. And Tim Miles kind of got them up to, okay, you get some G Leaguers. It looks like you've had some NBA guys under Hoiberg. You've had some guys get triple doubles, break records of points and a half. You have like individual accomplishments, but for some reason, it just has never meshed well. There's not like one time in the Hoiberg era, I think, where I go, this team just has all the pieces. They work together, and it flows so well. It just seems like a bunch of mismatched parts. And it didn't seem like that was going to be the case this year, right? I mean, you could start to add up, you have some length, you get some bigs, hopefully you get some 3-point shooting, still maybe missing a little bit on the true point guard. But, it seemed like some of those pieces would start to fit together and play together well. And it just hasn't happened for long enough, right? Like you said, the talent's in the room because they are playing Michigan States and Ohio States and Illinois. And you have to, again, you have to give credit to them when they are able to do that. Because if you're a complete train wreck, you're going to get blown out in all those games because those are high level competition, really good teams. So you have to have some sort of thing going in the right direction, and they do. It's just never translating to wins. And it is getting to the point, again, where I think a lot of Husker basketball fans have probably checked out. We can talk about the people that were leaving early today. It wasn't much of a packed house for us. I mean, this is Saturday afternoon, great day outside. This is usually when you get those big crowds. A lot of people already checking out. I'd have to do the math. I think they've lost their last 10. And let's see, what is it? 15 of their last 16. So, I mean, that's why. I mean, it's hard to get. So I just fear, regardless of what's happening, I know there's going to be the loyals that kind of stick there and support this team to the very end. And again, thanks to them. But I just, it's really frustrating when you're at this point in the season, and it's already been there. It just gets even more frustrating as it keeps going to be, early February, and there's hardly hope. Again, I think that the hope has turned into hopefully they can win 3 to 4 games. And after watching that performance, I mean, if they win 4 games now, they're going to have to do it in their final 7 games in the Big Ten play. And based off their 0-12 start and what we saw today, that's asking quite a bit. And it's just, again, getting from, talking heads and stuff like that on Twitter, you hear, we need to see something in these next 4 games a few games ago. This was not
Absolutely. No, this is not it. And here's the thing I want you to think about, right? And because we talk about it a lot, and I hear you references a lot about Bryce and his exit to the NBA. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people do like talent, and they like talent opportunities to be able to grasp at. But they also look at wins. Is he a winner? Jacques Vaughn for example, was just a solid player. He was, top ranked because of what he did, distributing the ball, doing all of that. There was nothing super special about Jock Vaughn, right? He goes, I think, in the first round, maybe late, not because he was top tier type player, right? Tyronn Lue goes in the first round late, not because they dominated, but they freaking won and went to a tournament, right? They won games. Bryce McGowan, I think, and I could be wrong because of the change of these landscapes, but the killer part about it now is there's going to be high school players that are going to be eligible. So now that marketplace, they look at wins. Okay, anybody can get 30 on a bad team. Anybody can get 25 on a bad team. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm just saying the perception becomes reality sometimes for the onlookers and the people that are looking on the outside, right? They're gonna, you look at Nebraska last draftees. Well, you had Delano Batten and Roby, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they went in the what round?
Second round, yeah.
Talented guys.
Yeah.
I guarantee if Delano Batten and that team is winning games last year with who he is and his abilities, he goes in the first round. So I'm and I could be wrong. E. Stricky is not saying I am or I have the crystal ball. I am just basically saying that with the way this team is right now and the way they look, I would venture to say that if Bryce goes, his agents and his agent and his mama and everybody in the neighborhood are going to be saying, yeah, you a lottery. Yeah, go. And he's going to be sitting in that room and he's going to fall to the second round if he chooses to leave. I would say, I'm telling, if you want to do it right, stay. Make that situation right, and you can ride the chariot into the lottery pick. If you can make this team a winner. If you leave as a loser, I'm willing to bet that he shows up in the second round.
Yeah, and as for what it's worth, the projections that you see, and you can look at different mock drafts. He is at the very end of the first round, so that's kind of and then other ones in the second round. So I mean, it is kind of that fringe player where there's a big difference, guaranteed contracts and all that stuff, how much you're going to make first round and second round. So it's an important point to make. Ryan off Facebook says we need roster carryover, not a different roster every year. Team chemistry doesn't exist, so that kind of goes to what you're saying there. Is it would be a huge if he were able to come back, if they're able to convince him to come back. But again, we'll kind of have to see how the season plays out and if that's in the cards for Nebraska. As they do have a good recruiting class coming in, but we've already seen that, and it hasn't led to wins quite yet for Nebraska. We're going to take a quick break, Stick. I think we're going to let you go and enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll have DP join us here in a minute, but thanks for sticking around. And
all right, man.
All right, take it easy.
I'm gonna try to smile or something, make something out of it. Let me go get some wine or something.
Yeah, there you go. It's still the weekend. You don't have to let it ruin yours. Thanks for letting us borrow some of your time this weekend.
No doubt. All right, guys.
All right, there he goes. There's Eric Strickland. Coming up next is DP will join us to try to break this game down. That's coming up next on the Hoops Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric ensures our home and office HVAC systems run smoothly throughout the year to provide maximum comfort and convenience. Routine maintenance reduced our operating costs just by improving the efficiency of our unit. Consider a maintenance agreement to ensure you too receive priority for services and scheduling. This helps meet manufacturer warranty requirements. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill has 2 Lincoln locations that are great for any occasion. If you're downtown for a basketball game or a concert, stop by their newest spot at 10th and P. Don't forget to check out their social media pages to learn about any concerts on stage at Rosie's. If you want to avoid a busy downtown scene, head over to the original Rosie's just south of 14th and Highway 2 for a feeling of your local hometown bar. There's plenty of TVs at both places and great food and drink. What are you waiting for? Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill at 10th and P and on South 14th Street.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Pleased and honored to be joined by Nebraska volleyball coach John Cook.
If Trev wasn't interested, I would have done it in a heartbeat because I just felt like Nebraska athletics, we were at the edge of the cliff. You know, we had to do something, get somebody in here to build this athletic department back up. I thank my lucky stars every day that Trev's our guy now.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to the Tickets Basketball Postgame Show, featuring Derek Pearson and former Husker and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up things here on the Hoops post-game show. We let Strick go, but myself, Jake Buckman, still here, wrapping up Nebraska's loss here as they dropped to 0-12 in conference play, 87-63. We're going to do so in the final segment with DP, who is joining us on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 424-645-5685. And hopefully his phone is going to work throughout this interview, because I heard it took the brunt of his anger from watching this game here against Northwestern.
Yeah, Bach, but my poor phone, I've been apologizing to it for the last 30 some minutes. It was trying to watch and be supportive. I have that issue with watching it with basketball eyes and then watching it with fan eyes. And when both of them agree that it doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense and it's not good enough, then the anger built up, and I was like, okay. So I threw it twice, and then I apologized. So we're back in good standing. It's allowed me to make this phone call, and now we can figure out what actually happened.
We got to get you a pillow or something that's closer to you. You can take your anger out on. But this was not much of a game, unfortunately. From the first half, Northwestern was hot from beyond the arc. Nebraska tried to match them, couldn't do so. Of course, the problems were a lot bigger than that, but that I think was kind of what led to this big loss here today. I guess the question, I mean, there's plenty of questions, but in breaking this thing down, you have to believe Northwestern's not that much better than Nebraska. What in your mind happened today?
Well, the coaching, the fan side of it is that it's missed opportunity. All right, you had a chance to beat a 10-10 team. You don't have that many wins. So you can't walk in assuming that, this is one for me to get. They all have to be the one for you to get. There's only one game, that's the one you're playing. And they failed at it. A couple of things that Boo Bulley took advantage of some lapses in basic agreements between players on what you're going to do and how you're going to defend it. Like help defense, you have to go back and figure out exactly what the rules are, and no matter who's out there, they have to play by the same rules. You've got to figure out how to put urgency on protecting the basketball. Like that's basketball 101. You can't go out there and let somebody pick your pocket 11 times. 11 times.
Yeah.
Bach, if I pick your pocket once, I put you on alert. I pick you up twice. You know what? I'm just better than you. After that, it's just abusive, right? That they're picking on you. That's the way it felt today. That Northwestern was picking on Nebraska, and what you hope for is that at some point you decide, okay, I'm not going to let you pick on me anymore. I'm going to punch back. I'm going to fight back. The way you fight back in this space is this: you make your free throws. Team went 10 of 19. We did that dance because that is uncontested. That is just you and your routine and your muscle memory, right? You can see that is a way for you to make up 9 points in a game that ends up being, 24 points, right? Then how else can you affect your own? Well, rebounding is really a choice, right? It is a choice. Rodman proves to us that we can rebound this way if we so choose. The other thing that I'm constantly curious about, Bach, is that if the lineup that you choose to roll with isn't working, change the lineup. If the rotations that you're using aren't working, change the rotation. If your help defense isn't uniform, then okay, we need to communicate more about what this is that you're going to do from possession to possession. And then finally, I think it's this, that you had two decent performances in the last two games against better teams. And today you put all that away and left it alone because those were on the road. You had whatever was going on, but you came home to a crowd that showed up on a Saturday at noon and you laid an egg. And today they didn't fight. They fought the previous two games. They fought. Like they fought back. They didn't fight back today. And I'm not sure what needs to happen. I'm just not sure. But rebounding points, turnovers, look, those are self-inflicted wounds and wasted opportunities. And they've been consistent in happening. My thing is at some point, this team has to say, we simply have had enough. And we will do better. We will do better, and being better help defenders, team defenders. And team defense is important in the Big Ten Conference. We need to be better offensively in ball movement and making people jump to us and run to us. But Bach, to watch this team and this offense, this is a hard-cut offense. It is a full sprint from the three-point line to the front of the rim, hoping that somewhere between there you are faster than, and that you have a teammate that sees your cut, will kick to you, and give you an opportunity to compete at the rim. We have soft cuts, we have clear outs, we have all these things, and it's basically run-throughs rather than hard cuts, and it's missed opportunities. So the easy buckets that announcers talk about, those are with defenders who turn their head to the ball and the guy off ball cuts to the basket. It is basketball basics. This team doesn't do it well, and I don't understand.
Yeah, they'll get their next opportunity at least against Minnesota. I guess for what it's worth, that is the second to last team in the Big Ten. They only have 2 Big Ten wins on the year. Do you think that there maybe was a lack of preparation for Northwestern because they were on the bottom half of the Big Ten? Maybe just not that. It would be hard to imagine since you don't have a Big Ten win yet, but I know that they do realize that the schedule has softened up. So, do you think there was a pregame problem coming into this game as well?
Well, they're the soft team in the schedule.
Yeah.
They are the soft team. You can't take anybody for granted. Listen, you got one more opportunity, and that's the next game is to kick somebody's tail. And you can't focus on who you just played. You can't focus on how you just played. Like Minnesota's up at home. I'll be interested to see what the crowd is. They can't be mad if the crowd is down. They should be. They should be disappointed in what they've done with that building in this season, right? And the only way to change it is to go out and put on the effort of a lifetime, one game against Minnesota. You got 3 days to scout up, get your crap together, recharge your body, rebuild, refocus. And if it were me, the starting lineup will look different on Wednesday night at TBA.
That's fascinating. I think you hit it right on the head, though, at least as far as the effort. I mean, I think that if anything, coming off of that loss, you hope that they're going to be very scrappy, really at least give it their all, and so that you can see it. You know, guys diving on the floor, extra effort, no Olay defense, none of that. So hopefully we see that coming up. Unfortunately, we're up against it, so we're about to end the show. But thanks for joining us, DP.
Appreciate you, bro. See you Monday.
Yeah. Right around the corner. All right, there he goes. DP there as, of course, you can hear him just like myself here on weekdays on 93.7 The Ticket. And we will continue to do this post game. We love Husker hoops. Obviously very passionate about it. And I know that you guys are too, for sticking in here. And we'd like to thank all you guys for contributing on Facebook, on the text line, giving us calls, all that stuff. It's a tough one today, especially a tough one. But again, we talk about gettable games. Minnesota's got to be that 2-8 in conference play, 13th in the Big Ten. Nebraska just has to get off the schneid so we can all breathe a nice sigh of relief. But and then again, we'll have that post game for you when it comes due. Let me double check on the game. I believe it's on the 9th. So that'd be 4 days from now. I'm not great at maths, but I think that's Wednesday. So we'll check that out. 8 o'clock on BTN if you're preparing for that game on Wednesday. And then, of course, we'll have a late post-game show. So hopefully you guys will stay with us. We do have a few more, a little bit more programming as a high school basketball this afternoon. We'll tip at 5:30. Nick Center will be on the call. So I'd like to invite you guys to tune in and listen to that after some pretty good games last night as well. So it's not done completely here on the ticket, but that will wrap it up for the post-game show. And myself, Jake Bakovin, DP joining us on the phone call there. And of course, Eric Strickland joining us from his home in Florida as well. Thank you guys for joining us, and hopefully enjoy your weekend a little bit more. Forget about this Nebraska game. We'll see you guys later.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric